guys, welcome back to the Cars and Stuff YouTube channel. My name's Mark and I flip cars as a side hustle. So this is just a follow-up video from the first video in relation to the double trouble with the Mini and the Clio, which I bought from BCA in Bristol. I knew the Mini had lack appeal. I knew the Clio had a few kind of dents and scuffs, but they're fairly cheap cars. They were fairly low mileage for the age, so it didn't concern me too much. So buy cheap and then obviously sell cheap. If also for the lack appeal for the Mini, someone's got an absolute bargain there because it ran absolutely spot on. And same with the Clio, to be fair, but I will get on to that as well. So I picked up the Clio first, jumped on the train. I think it cost me £12, whatever it was, to get that. Yeah, got the keys for both of the cars and drove the Clio home first. Obviously I had a quick look around, made sure all the fluids and stuff were all good before I left the depot. So you don't want to, kind of drive with no oil or coolant or anything like that. But that was all good. And yeah, so I drove the Clio home. It was absolutely spot on. So all I had to do to that was give it a good wash, polish out some of the scuffs, which you should see in that first video. Pretty back-breaking stuff polishing the car. So yeah, I mean, definitely couldn't do it full time because I'm a bit of a fatty. I probably need to be fair. So yeah, I mean, I advertised the Clio first. So yeah, once I got it home, and I even took it to work actually, the Clio. And on the way back home from work, the engine management light come on. So booked it in the garage, local garage I use. They found it to be a couple of sensors, I think an O2 sensor and I think a NOx sensor as well, if I remember rightly. That cost £305 in total. So again, you've got to factor in these issues. So when you chuck in a bid on a car at BCA, you want to really have a big enough margin for these kind of issues to arise. So I advertised it after a few days of driving it at £1,250. And yeah, I started getting a message straight away practically. So had a guy come from Worcester, so not far from me at all. He had a drive round in it, and yeah, he absolutely adored it. It was just what he was looking for, a cheap, low mileage run around, just to get him to work and back really. He did have a Golf, which I think the engine blew up, but he had that for a number of years, but he did say, to be fair, he didn't service it, so there's reasons why car engines blow up, not just from their own accord. So yeah, it was advertised at £1,250. He hit me with a £1,000 offer straight away, as they do. They always lowball you. And we agreed £1,175, which I was happy with. 1,100 would have been the lowest I would have taken. I always advertise a bit more than what I would take for a car because that's just what you do. You wouldn't want to advertise a car at a number you're going to be happy with and then not be happy when you obviously negotiate a deal and they're not going to pay the full asking price. So yeah, I'll go through the figures quickly. So obviously I sold it for £1,175. It initially cost me £603, including fees from BCA, £20 in fuel, and then obviously the £305 on the sensors at my local garage. That comes to a total of £908. Obviously sold it for £1,175, so that comes to a £247 profit. Obviously it took me a couple of hours to get the car, to wash it, prep it, advertise it. So I worked out in total the time I put into it. I think I took out, it kind of comes to £41 an hour, which is pretty decent. If you can do that every day, all day, then anyone can do that and make a really good living. So that was the Clio. So a pretty decent result. It would have been over £500 in profit, but again, like I say, you've got to have these margins in place for when things like this happen with, engine warning lights coming on. You might need to replace tyres, all sorts of different things. So for cheap cars like that, you want to try and give yourself at least £500 margin. Worst case scenario, you break even. So yeah, that was the the Clio rather. So moving on to the Mini. It took me a little bit longer to prep it and advertise it and whatnot. So I focused on the Clio first. And like I said, it was just a lacquer peel that let it down. I couldn't even polish it because I think, if I did, all that lacquer would have come off. If it hadn't sold as quickly as it did, I probably would have tackled the lacquer peel myself just to see if I can do any difference to it. So I probably would have sanded it back and lacquered parts of it just to see what it looked like. And if it did look horrendous, then I would have just done an area where it wouldn't have shown up as much, and then you just kind of work from there. It's all about practice and try new things really. So yeah, so I advertised it for £1,450, which in my eyes, I thought was a pretty decent price, especially with the mileage. I think it was 84,000 miles. Again, it had a really good service history, so it's been really well looked after. And yeah, within a couple of days, started getting messages. The first of which was a chap who was fairly local again, but he had a Citroen Sara Picasso he wanted to get rid of and actually scrap. So yeah, we come to some sort of deal for that after he test drove it. He fell in love with it. He even had the retractable sunroof as well, so that was electric system, and yeah, he absolutely loved it. So I advertised it, like I said, for £1,450. I said I would take on his Citroen Sara Picasso, but I would only scrap it. So I gave him £100 part exchange for that, but also taking time out of my day to take it to the scrapyard, which I don't have one locally, so I had to come drive it myself and then get it back or whatnot. He was a fairly old guy. He didn't want the hassle to do that himself either. And I took it to the scrapyard. I only got £200 for it anyway. So, and we also did a deal at £1,350 plus his car. So I made, so the total sale price rather was £1,550, which is £100 more than what I advertised it for. So again, absolutely, brilliant deal there. But these things, kind of counters the issues with other cars like the Clio. So, again, you've got to have these margins in place in case these, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to occur, with any of the cars you buy. Although they come with reports and stuff, they're only reporting on cars that they haven't driven, they haven't test drove, they've gone through, the gears maybe just on site, they haven't taken it for a spin. So you got to kind of take these things with a pinch of salt with the reports at BCA. But, I would say 8 times out of 10, they're normally pretty decent. So, I've been using them for a while and I've had no issues recently, obviously apart from the Clio. So just to go through the figures on the Mini, so I paid £615.96, including fees, £12.60 for a train, 20 quid in fuel, and that was it. So that comes to £648.56. Sold it for £1,550, £901 profit, and 44p. So total profit for both cars was £1,147.44. On the Mini, it works out at a staggering £180 an hour. But on average, including the Clio, with all the hours totaled up and the profit margins, £104 an hour, which again, for 2 cars, if you did that every day, is a brilliant result. So it's not bad for a weekend's work. So in relation to end of year profits and stuff, I do use an accountant. I've got a full-time job. So he works out how much tax I need to pay with the kind of the car schemes, and there's different kind of taxes you pay on on the cars. I'm not entirely sure how it all works out. He does. So I leave him to it. You know, I've been doing it for a few years now. I'm guessing, you know, he's getting it right every year because I'm not receiving anything from HMRC or anything, which is good. And yeah, it's just a good little side hustle to have, really. I definitely recommend it. You don't need to be a mechanic or anything. Any issues I get, I take to a local garage. Obviously, it does cost more, but you can practice as well if you really want to. I don't have the time to do that, really. I do quite like and enjoy actually the cleaning, detailing, doing a bit of paint work and whatnot, just because it's, you know, putting your own work into it and seeing the results. It can be quite rewarding, but also it's obviously a lot more cost effective as well, especially on the cheaper cars. I mean, if I took that Clio to a body shop, for example, it probably would have cost me a few £100, maybe 500 quid to get all the scrapes out, all the paint that would have had to have been done on the car as well. So yeah, you know, you want to try and, you know, do most of the work yourself if you can, but obviously if you can't, you've got to factor in the cost for mechanics and stuff. So yeah, that concludes this video. You know, this is the first time I've done a face to video kind of shoot. So again, this is all new to me. I thought I'd give it a go. This is all, you know, this is the first time doing it. So any recommendations you guys have got, anything I can do differently, please just put in the comments. So yeah, that's it. Really appreciate your time for watching. And if there's anything that, you know, any other videos you want me to bring out, just again put in the comments, and even subscribe if you want to. I am going to try and bring out some more videos at least once every 2 weeks. It's quite difficult doing it once a week because with my full-time job and then, you know, putting the videos together, it does take a bit of time. So yeah, any recommendations, guys? Like I said, comment, and I will see you in the next one. Cheerio.